The BRICS basically began as a protest movement internationally against American unilateralism. Most people apparently don't know that the United Nations Charter prohibits sanctions unless they are approved by the UN Security Council. The United States routinely ignores this. In fact, coercive measures like sanctions, or sending in the Marines, or starting a war, have become our usual modus operandi in foreign policy. The issue for other countries is our use of dollar transactions, our sovereignty over the dollar, to prohibit them from doing trade with each other or settling trade deals in dollars. And we've seen this applied to Russia. We've seen it applied to Iran. And I would add, we've also gotten into the habit of confiscating the reserves of those we oppose, like the Russians or the Iranians or the Venezuelans, who lost their gold in Britain to confiscation. So we are behaving in a lawless fashion, and the BRICS have decided to provide an alternative. And they will have a meeting in Kazan in Russia a little later in this month, about 3 weeks from now, in which one of the main items on the table, in addition to further expansion of membership, which has now reached 9, I believe. Argentina, before the Milei election, was to join, but Milei declined to join. Interestingly, he's now headed for Beijing on bended knee with his hand out. But, even an anarcho-capitalist like him can be realistic if forced to be. So the main agenda will be finding alternatives to trade settlement in the dollar. The reason the dollar has its role as a reserve currency is because it preserves value, supposedly. And two problems have arisen. One is you can't use the dollar if you have it because of US sanctions. So we are prohibiting the use of it to settle trade. Second, the United States now is deeply in debt. We have a public debt that exceeds our gross domestic product. Private debt in the United States is even larger, around 167% of GDP. Don't hold me to that figure, but I believe that's the figure. The world is beginning to wonder what the plan is to pay all this debt off. And Larry Summers once said, well, it's easy. We'll just inflate our economy and the dollar will lose value and that'll solve the problem we won't have to solve. But, we're on the verge of losing the ability to buy goods and services by printing little green paper portraits of dead presidents. Now, that's been very important to us. And it's in jeopardy. So the BRICS began as a protest movement. They're becoming more effective. There will be 100 countries represented in Kazan, and there will be an expansion of the membership. And they are beginning to develop trade and investment rules for trade and investment among their members that exclude us. And I would add here that, Pacific Asia is the global center of the world economy now. And we have decided we're not going to participate in making rules for trade and investment there. So when the Trans-Pacific Partnership was proposed, both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump opposed it, and Donald Trump canceled it. Ergo, we're not at the table. And as all of you know, the old American adage is true. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so we will see what happens at Kazan.